Fellas, ladies, you looking for lotions? You looking for beard oils? But unfortunately, everything you get from mainstream got chemicals in it and it's probably killing you? No problem, we got you. Go check out my people from Top to Bottom Hair and Skincare. That's Top to Bottom Hair and Skincare. www.top2bottom, BOTTU, the U is for unique, M.com. Tell them I sent you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Unfiltered Sports. Today, we're going to talk about no whistle. No whistle, meaning when refs are gone, the truth comes out. A brutally honest segment where hosts say what they can say during highlights and not worry about, just the political craziness of the coverage that is being posted on TV. So we get to talk about things like highlights, press conferences, the league friendly coverages, no spinoffs, no narratives, just facts, film, and feeling. So today on Unfiltered Sports, like I said, we're going to talk about the no whistle. So one thing that I want to talk about, right, is a team that thinks they set the tone every single year. A team that thinks that this year is their year. A team that thinks they're going to win a Super Bowl 99% of the time, but when it comes down to playoffs, they choke artists. This team isn't unlucky, they're just undisciplined. We all know who I'm talking about. We talk about the Dallas Cowgirls and how they're undisciplined, unrealistic, and how we think that this year is always this is always their year, and how they think that they're going to win a Super Bowl. And if you think that any fans in the NFL is delusional, it is the Dallas Cowgirl fans. They are delusional. They thought that all because they had a 1% chance of making it to the playoffs, that they were actually going to make it into the playoffs. They were praying that the Eagles would actually lose out the last 5 games of the season and they would win out so that way they can make it into the playoffs. But we talking playoffs where superstars are born. Playoffs where legacies are made. We're talking playoffs where the underdogs can come out on top with a win. That's what we're talking about. And on the topic of playoffs, I find it very interesting to look at the teams that are in the playoffs for the NFL. When we talk about the NFL playoffs, right, I really, really like the matchup on Monday night, the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Houston Texans. That right there, I think is going to be a great matchup in the NFL playoffs. Honestly speaking, I want Houston to win because all those Steeler fans that are out there that are thinking that they all because they got Aaron Rodgers that they might even win a Super Bowl, doubtful. Y'all still got to get through Buffalo, maybe even Jacksonville if they beat Buffalo. You still got to get through New England, maybe the Chargers. I just highly doubt that the Steelers are really going to come and upset the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans started off their season very poorly, and they turned it around, and they're doing it very well. I just don't think that Aaron Rodgers has much left in the tank to even lead this team into the playoffs to beat an underdog team like the Houston Texans. Now, for all you Steelers fans out there, man, I feel sorry for y'all. I really do feel sorry for y'all. Because y'all might just make it into this wild card round and get out. But let's put this out there. If the Steelers don't win versus the Texans, Do they jump on the bandwagon and fire their coach as well? With Mike Tomlin losing in the wild card round, is his job on the hot seat or not? Honestly speaking, with the fact that the Ravens fired their head coach, the Dolphins fired their head coach, the Browns fired their head coach, I honestly think that if they don't make it past the wild card round, even winning a Super Bowl, that it's time for Mike Tomlin to call it a career and retire. Get him up out of there. Speaking of other coaches that got fired, the Raiders fired their coach as well. Pete Carroll, I just think it was time for him to just hang it up in general. I think he started to lose it a little bit when he decided that he was going to be in the Super Bowl versus Tom Brady at the 1 yard line with arguably the best running back in the NFL at the time. And you want to pass it? You want to pass the ball. You had every opportunity to run and get that touchdown and defeat Tom Brady. That's crazy. Now, when we look on the NFC side of things, I really want to see Carolina upset the Rams. I want to see the Panthers upset the Rams. I know it's a slight chance that happens, but I really want to see Carolina upset the Rams. I want to see people get frustrated that their team got knocked out by the rain or not by the Rams, but by the Panthers. Like the Panthers. Y'all sleeping on the Panthers right about now. I'm just saying. And I'm just saying, when we look at Green Bay versus Chicago, as much as I don't want to say this, and I don't like to say this, I like to think that Green Bay is going to beat Chicago. With the addition of Diggs at the cornerback role for Green Bay, I honestly think that they might actually come out on top with this game here. And I want them to come out on top because they got a good team to face. Now, when we look at the other game in the NFC, we're looking at the San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. Man, oh man, oh man. The last time the Eagles played the 49ers in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken, the Eagles beat the 49ers to go to the Super Bowl. And wait, what happened? Didn't they beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl? That's right. You got it. Man. All I'm saying is, I think, and here's my predictions, and I can be wrong, and that's okay. But I'm calling Philadelphia Eagles to beat San Francisco, Green Bay Packers to beat Chicago. I want the upset, the Carolina Panthers over the Rams. I want Houston to beat Pittsburgh. I want New England to beat the Chargers. And I want Buffalo to upset Jacksonville. Those are my predictions right there. Let's hear your predictions in the chat there, because we know for sure that the Steelers are definitely not going to the Super Bowl. So that's already out of the picture as it is. But let's hear it in the chat. Like, what are your predictions for these games? Let me see. Yeah, we know the Steelers are trash. It's pure garbage. But we talking about Buffalo versus Jacksonville. I'm not a huge Josh Allen fan, but I want Buffalo to beat Jacksonville. The reason I'm saying that is because I want Buffalo to go all the way to the Super Bowl and face the Philadelphia Eagles. That's my prediction. Eagles versus Bills, Super Bowl. Mm. I also like Eagles versus Patriots in the Super Bowl. Another rematch. It's tied 1-1 in the Super Bowl. Rematch could mean, one team takes the bragging rights over the other. That's all I'm saying, though. We know that if the Eagles beat the 49ers, they are definitely going to the Super Bowl. That's all I'm saying. And this is going to be a very upsetting wild card weekend. Very upsetting. Some people are going to go home crying. But you never know. It could be you. It could be you, Steelers. It could be you. Y'all got lucky. All I'm saying is for Steelers fans is y'all got so lucky that field goal went wide right and he missed it. That's how lucky y'all got. There's no way that game should have been that close. Y'all might need to take some lessons from the Eagles. I'm just saying, right? Because the Eagles have blocked field goals to win the game. The Eagles have blocked punts to win the game. What are the Steelers doing right now? Not that at all. Man, this is good. This is good. This is good. Man, yeah, listen, them scripts is crazy. I watched a video, speaking of scripts, and don't remember. It might have been in the Giants game. I could be wrong. It could have been the Raiders game. I don't remember. But I was watching a replay, and there was this dude wearing blue. He, before the play even started, signaled to the umpire of the game for a false start. When the play happened, you can see the tight end jump off sides. It was literally a false start. It is so scripted. Like, it's crazy. I wonder if we can find a copy of that script. Maybe it's leaked somewhere online. Might be interesting to be looking into. But back to the topic, right, of coaches being terminated from their position. With Miami letting go their head coach, the Raiders letting go their head coach, the Browns letting go their head coach, Atlanta letting go their head coach, and then you got who else let go of their head coach? The Ravens, they let go their head coach. Out of all those teams that fired their head coach, who has the higher chance of being hired as a head coach again in the NFL? Honestly, just thinking about it, when I heard that the Ravens fired their head coach, I'm thinking he might go over to LA and work as a offensive coordinator, or maybe even a defensive coordinator or something alongside of his brother. I think he might go to the Chargers and not be a head coach no more, but I think he might actually have a job. He has job security somewhere, especially if his brother is there. Like, I think that's going to help out a lot. So who knows what's going to happen, really. It's really going to be interesting to see how things are playing out and how things are really going to make a difference in this league, and how we're going to see the fact that it's going soft. This league is going soft. I really don't see much more hard heading anymore. Like I like it when Brian Dawkins would literally just hit someone and that person, like, not to wish injuries or anything on that person, but the person got hit so hard that he wouldn't even get up. After a while, it was like, man, he got put in a coma or something. I was like, that is crazy. So I'm like, dang, this is interesting. Very, very interesting. Then we got Ray Lewis, who out there doing the same thing. We don't even see that much anymore because people are afraid to hit or get hit because flags get thrown over the littlest things. One of the other things that I think is interesting too is that you can't really even touch the quarterback anymore. Man, I used to watch Troy Polamalu hop over, that offensive line and hit the quarterback. I used to watch how Brian Dawkins used to hit the quarterback. Ray Lewis, Ed Reed. These are some great players who actually played the game with passion, and they left their legacy on the field, and now it's being missed. The other thing is that these players are playing with these bigger helmets now. Like, them helmets is like that big, gigantic, with the padding around it and everything. That's crazy. Very crazy. Like, I don't understand it. Like, I guess it's supposed to protect their heads from CTE or something like that. But like, look how huge that thing is. Man, there's no way that fits around their helmet like that. That's outrageous. I'm just saying. The other thing though is that I think 100% that these referees bet on the game and they throw the game just to make a little bit of extra money from Vegas. See, what I find interesting is the head referee for the Eagles 49ers game calls the game in favor of the Eagles more often than he would for the 49ers. That same referee is from Pennsylvania. And when he officiated Eagles games, I believe the overall record for the Eagles were 8-1 compared to the 49ers where it was like 3-3, something along those lines. That's an interesting fact there. But like, you can't really coach your players to play the game to worry about their referees and how they officiate. Bad officiating is going to happen regardless. But we try to coach our players to play the game without worrying about the referees and the calls that they make. Because if we ran the ball up the middle and we did everything that we had to do, it shouldn't be left to a decision of the referee. Referees are going to referee regardless if the call was a correct call or not. They're going to keep watching the game and making sure that the game is supposed to be played fair. There has to be some type of double standard across the board. Like, if players aren't allowed to gamble or sports bet, whatever you want to call it, the referees shouldn't be allowed to do it either. There should be some kind of repercussion for the referees if they get caught sports betting, just like the players. They should be suspended for X amount of games. Oh, excuse me. Outside of that, they should be fined a certain percentage of their paycheck, if not all of it. And they probably should be suspended from refereeing for the rest of the season if the suspension for 1 or 2 games isn't feasible enough. So that's just my personal intake on that. I think that there's a lot of coaches that are being protected by lame excuses. In my personal opinion, I believe the Eagles should fire their offensive coordinator and let him go out the door. You're right. The NBA is soft. The NBA, because of LeBron James, has become a soft organization to even watch. I hate to admit this and I hate to say this, but the WNBA is way more entertaining than the NBA. The WNBA is starting to bring in more fans. Why? Why do you think? You got players like Caitlin Clark. You got players like Angel Reese. Players like Paige Beckers. You got players like Haley Van Lith. You got players like Aj Wilson, right? The list can keep going on. Like they are playing a decent game of basketball, and then they're representing women's U.S. team in the Olympics. The women are starting to outshine the men because the men want to flop on the ground. They want to cry over a little tap on the wrist. They can't finish at the basket when they hit contact. They are wanting to whistle every single time. Ref, he fouled me. Ref, he fouled me. Come on, ref. Come on. And then everybody wants to try to be like Steph Curry and shoot the three ball from the logo. Like, no. At the end of the day, when we look at how the NBA was played in the 90s compared to how the NBA is played now in the Jordan era of the 1990s, the NBA was way more aggressive and way more physical. You could not even attempt to attack the basket without being clotheslined, punched in the face, head hitting the ground. But what happens? You get back up, you dust the dirt off, and you keep playing the game that you love. Nowadays, you got the opposite. I'm gonna shoot the three, and then I'm gonna flop down to the ground and try to get a and one or whatever it may be. Referees are watching. They're starting to catch on to the things that you're doing because you're not playing the fundamental game of basketball. You're playing the selfish game of basketball. But basketball is not a individual sport. It is a team sport. And just imagine playing against like Dikembe Mutombo, Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Dennis Rodman, and you try to attack the basket and they just give you an elbow right to the face, or you just catch a mean right hook right to the face. Honestly speaking, I would love to see Draymond Green play in the 1990s against some of these physical players that played in the 90s. Draymond like to get technical fouls for being aggressive and different things like that. Let him play an aggressive era. Let him play physical basketball and see how he can stand his ground and compete. Because that's what we need to see. Man, just thinking about it, somebody gonna take my $1 million idea once I say this. But there needs to be like a basketball league where like obviously like you have the rules of basketball where you got to dribble the basketball, the 3-second violation and different things like that. But like imagine basketball with no fouls. Imagine basketball with no fouls, meaning like if you come to the basket and catch you with a mean elbow to the face, no foul. And if that person doesn't finish and it's going the other way, they're gonna get up and they're gonna try to do the same thing. But just imagine how much that can make you better, and how much it makes you want to go to the gym and sit in the gym and actually perfect the craft of basketball more by playing through the physical activity. I honestly don't think that LeBron James would survive in the 1990s playing basketball against Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal in his prime. Like, I just don't think it's possible that he will be the person who he is today playing in the 1990s. Because one little elbow to his face, elbow to the rib, whatever it may be, flopping to the ground and doing everything, and then he cries about it. He cries. He's a grown man jumping and stomping on the ground for what? You get paid millions of dollars to do what? Jump up and down and cry and pout about the call that didn't go your way? Like, come on. It is crazy and it's ridiculous to see how the NBA is changing, in my opinion, for the worse. Because I said this before, the All-Star game isn't the same. All-Star weekend isn't the same. And it really just, it's sad to see this because such something so great that was, in my sense, was damn near perfect. It started to shift and evolve and change. And it's not the same no more. I think it's worse. Worse than what it's supposed to be. Worse than what it was. But let's hear from the chat. What are your thoughts on these pro players playing soft? And your thoughts on these pro players when you spend hundreds of dollars, some people even thousands of dollars, to go watch a superstar play against a team. And when you get there for the first time to watch that team, that superstar isn't playing that game because they decided to sit out because they play in too many games. Let's hear your take on this. I'll be waiting. Because this is going to be funny right here. Like, I don't know. These superstars these days think they just run the league, and Commish need to get it together. Commish need to step in and meet with these NBA players and put his foot down. I'm not saying that he's not putting his foot down, but it's weak. It's not the same at all. And that's what it really is. Just, it's funny. It's funny in my opinion because you, like, it seems like you're starting to lose money now. So it's like, wow. Honestly speaking, let me backtrack really fast because it's just like I was looking at the word fan, and it's brought like it jogged my memory on something. We were talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I seen the highlight, but one of the players from the Pittsburgh Steelers walked up to the fan, and what it looks like to be punching him in the face or pulling that person's hair. Wow. 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 Man, those Steelers, they just got to get it together because why are you going to go over to the fan who had blue hair? He was a Lions fan. And because he called you by your full government name, you tried to Mike Tyson him. That's crazy. Like, that's insane. But we don't know the full story either. The fan could have been saying something derogatory to the player as well. But we all know that those Steelers fans are hot headed. They can't keep their cool for anything. Like, it is crazy. But when we look at the mindset of teams, the culture of teams, and how teams are winning games and they're winning Super Bowls and they're winning NBA Finals and Stanley Cups and the World Series, right? We learned that championship teams don't make excuses. they make adjustments. That just doesn't apply to only sports. It applies to our everyday life as well. Championship teams don't make excuses, they make adjustments. I'm just saying, that's crazy. Man, just think how in the 90s, even early 2000s, women's sports weren't even really looked at like that. Now, it's just overtaking these men's sports. That's all I'm saying, though. And just know that pretty soon, if the NBA keeps doing what it's doing and the NFL keeps acting soft as well, excuse me, guys, these women's sports are going to start taking over, and people are going to be more into women's sports than they are to these men's sports. And if I'm not mistaken, the cost to get into these women's sports are significantly cheaper than to get into the games for the men's sports. But again, those predictions out there for the playoffs, that's going to be important right there. Very important. I'd say it's very important because we want to know what your bracket looks like. Is your bracket going to be messed up right away? Are you going to live to see another round? We already know that Denver clinched, so Denver will move on. But I'm picking Buffalo over Jacksonville. And then, like I said, I'm picking New England over Chargers. And then Houston over the Steelers. Then out of that, I'm picking Buffalo to beat Denver. And then, like I said, I'm picking New England to beat Houston. And then, obviously, like I said, I want Buffalo to go all the way to the Super Bowl. And then we got Seattle that already clinched, but I want the Panthers to beat the Rams, the Packers to beat Chicago, and the Philadelphia Eagles to beat San Francisco. And then, as I said, I got San Francisco going, or not San Francisco, Philadelphia going all the way to the Super Bowl. That's just my picks and my intake on that one. So let's hear your intake or whatnot. Put it in the chat. Alrighty, guys. I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. So, with that being said, though, I thank everybody for tuning in just to hear me talk about sports this week, talking about the no whistle and just different things that happen with the no whistle, especially how soft the NBA is, how soft the NFL is going, and the upcoming and uprising of women's sports. So, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you all for tuning in this week. I look forward to seeing you guys next week on Unfiltered Sports. And so, with that being said, you guys stay classy. You guys stay blessed. You guys have a great night. And I look forward to seeing you guys all next week. And remember, as always, go Dogs.
Fellas, ladies, you looking for lotions? You looking for beard oils? But unfortunately, everything you get from mainstream got chemicals in it and it's probably killing you? No problem, we got you. Go check out my people from Top to Bottom Hair and Skincare. That's Top to Bottom Hair and Skincare. www.top2bottom, BOTTU, the U is for unique, M.com. Tell them I sent you.